Y'all, hold up. This right here? This ain't just some industry politics. Now what we're looking at is betrayal, ego, and secrets that were never supposed to see the light of day. So buckle up. Fans are shook after news dropped that Kendrick Lamar officially removed SZA from the second leg of his highly anticipated tour. And baby, the reason ain't what you think. Publicly. Sure, they're blaming it on scheduling conflicts and creative differences, but behind the scenes, the energy is messy, the group chats are blowing up. And industry insiders are already whispering that this move could blow up TDE's legacy for good. We're talking heated backstage arguments, deleted messages, unfollowed accounts, and even a possible love triangle that left one person in tears and another person plotting revenge. And y'all know how Kendrick moves, quietly, until it's loud. But this time, he may have gone too far and SZA ain't letting it slide. What really happened on that tour bus? Why did the team try to silence her? And did Kendrick just expose himself in a way that he can't walk back from? Stick around because this rabbit hole goes deep, like career-shaking deep. So picture this. It's a warm summer night in Los Angeles. The city buzzing with excitement over the biggest tour announcement of the year, Kendrick Lamar and SZA, co-headlining for the first time ever. Fans were calling it a cultural reset, a long overdue celebration of Teed's finest. But behind the perfectly edited promo and million-dollar visuals, something dark was already brewing. And let me tell you, it wasn't just tour stress down now. Folks close to the situation say the tension had been building for weeks. Before the tour kicked off, Kendrick had been acting ... different, cold, distant, and shy. She felt it. One crew member even overheard her saying, "I don't know who he thinks he is. But I'm not gonna let nobody play me like I'm just some opening act." The energy backstage. Icy. Like you could feel it in the room, and it all came to a head in New York, Madison Square Garden. Sold-out crowd. Everybody there to witness history. Kendrick had just wrapped his set, and SZA was supposed to come out and join him for that final surprise collab they'd rehearsed for weeks. The fans were screaming, waiting, phones up. But guess what? She never came out. The band kept playing the intro. The lights flashed. And then ... nothing. Lights went black. The show ended just like that. Social media exploded. Some fans thought it was a technical issue. Others assumed SZA had gotten sick. But insiders say she was backstage the whole time arguing with Kendrick in a private green room. And it got loud. "You think you can just cut me out of my own moment?" She yelled, according to a source who overheard the entire thing. Kendrick fired back, calm but firm. "You letting the internet gas you up. This ain't about you. This about the message." "Nah," she snapped. "This about control. And you don't own me." Security had to step in. Teed execs were called to mediate. The rest of the tour dates? Suddenly under review, and then came the real bombshell. 4 days later, a quiet update hit the tour's website. SZA had been removed from the second leg. No explanation. Just gone. Fans were confused, hurt, even angry. Some demanded refunds. Others started pulling receipts, noticing that the two hadn't been interacting online for weeks. No birthday posts. No backstage selfies. No love. But that's just the surface. What we're hearing now paints a way messier picture. Sources say it wasn't just about the tour. This all traces back to something that happened earlier this year at a private studio session in Malibu. It was supposed to be a celebration. SZA was wrapping her deluxe project, and Kendrick had agreed to lay down a feature. They had wine, candles, good energy. It was all looming till someone brought up the Grammy nominations. How you get 5 nods and I get 2. Kendrick allegedly joked with a smirk. SZA laughed at first, but apparently she later told friends that the energy shifted. "He's competitive. Always has been," she said. But that night it felt personal. The studio session ended early. And after that, something just broke. Now, fast forward to tour rehearsals, and SZA was noticing things. Her mic levels weren't being prioritized. Her dancers were getting less stage time. She reportedly told her manager, "I feel like I'm being set up to fail." Meanwhile, Kendrick was locked in, focused, but also watching. One source said he felt betrayed after finding out SZA had been in talks for a solo tour that would have launched before their joint run. She didn't tell him, and he felt blindsided. "We supposed to be family," he allegedly told a close friend, "and she out here moving like a stranger." But wait, tit gets even deeper, apparently. During one of the early shows, a mysterious backstage visitor showed up. A&R folks say it was Punch, the longtime TEED president who rarely attends shows these days. And he didn't come alone. With him was an exec from a major streaming platform, and word is they were scouting SZA for a major solo tour. Without Kendrick. And guess who overheard that convo? Kendrick's personal assistant. Within 24 hours, the vibes were off. SZA noticed security started shadowing her more closely. Her dressing room got moved. And worst of all, her soundcheck time kept getting bumped. One dancer said SZA broke down crying in rehearsal. "I just want to perform. Why is this so hard?" She whispered, but let's rewind a little bit. Because this whole situation might have been sparked months ago during a private retreat hosted by TEED in the desert. Multiple artists were invited to reconnect and reflect, according to a press release. But insiders say it was a chaotic mess. Egos clashed. One night, Kendrick and SZA got into a heated debate over a new artist being signed to the label. SZA wasn't feeling it. "She don't even write her own music," she allegedly said. And Kendrick, he didn't like that. "You always think it's a competition," he reportedly told her. And that's when things started unraveling. Even Schoolboy Q was caught in the middle trying to play peacemaker. "Man, y'all like family. This ain't worth it," he told them. But it was already too late. Cut to last month, and everything exploded in a hotel suite in Atlanta. Kendrick had just done an interview where he talked about his solo legacy, and fans noticed he didn't mention SZA Wants Not, even when asked about collaborative energy. That same night, SZA posted a cryptic tweet. "Sometimes silence is the loudest disrespect." A few hours later, it was deleted. But not before fans screenshot it, and then came the final straw. During one of the last shows SZA performed, she changed the lyrics to a popular track. Instead of singing the original hook, she belted out, "I gave you the crown and you used it to cage me." Fans went crazy. Blogs ran with it. And Kendrick, he didn't say a word, just stared at her from side stage, arms folded. What happened next? WELL. Let's just say after that performance, the tour team got an internal memo. Effective immediately, SZA would not be continuing. No exit post. No mutual statement, just ... gone. Because trust it only gets wilder from here. The fallout wasn't just between artists. It spread to friends, families, and fans who found themselves caught in a web of loyalty, silence, and secrets that were never meant to leak. And wait until you hear what one of SZA's best friends accidentally revealed on Instagram Live. Yeah, the tea is boiling and it's about to spill all the way over. So boom. The internet's still reeling from HAS's sudden removal, and Kendrick's team is saying nothing. Fans are arguing online. Theories flying like bullets. Was it a breakup? A betrayal? Or something deeper that we ain't supposed to know yet? But then, out of nowhere, boom. SZA's best friend, Cammy, goes live on Instagram. Now listen, Cammy ain't new to the circle. She's been down with SZA since the early SoundCloud days. But what she did that night? Ooh. She had 2 glasses of wine, soft lighting, and no filter. And that's when she slipped, ... honestly, ... Z was hurt. Like, really hurt, she says on Live. Eyes all glassy. She thought this was gonna be different. She thought it was gonna be family. Someone in the comments asks, what really happened? And Cammy hesitates. Then she says it. Real soft. Let's just say. She saw something she wasn't supposed to see. ... Girl. What did she see? The live ends 2 minutes later, deleted. But y'all know how the internet works. Clips were already screen recorded and uploaded to TikTok before Cami could even blink. Now blogs are running wild, analyzing everything. And the wildest theory? That Shaw caught Kendrick in some kind of deal that went against TDE and possibly even involved one of her own team members. But wait, this is where things go from messy ... to straight up betrayal. A week after the incident, a leaked voice note starts circulating online. It's grainy, sounds like it was recorded in secret. But fans are convinced it's a combo between Kendrick and Top Dawg himself. In the clip, a voice that sounds a lot like Kendrick says, "I told her, this ain't her show. It's mine. I bring her on as a guest, that's it. She can't headline with me." Then the other voice, allegedly Top, replies, "She's hot right now, but don't forget who built this house." Boom. That audio had the fan base in shambles. Folks started accusing Kendrick of being threatened by HA's rising star. Others defended him, saying it's just business. But the damage already done. Now remember that mysterious streaming deal we talked about? Turns out it's real. Shaw had been negotiating a behind-the-scenes documentary/tour series called Control, The Next Wave. And guess who had been quietly helping produce it? A former TEED creative director who left the label on bad terms last year. Kendrick reportedly felt blindsided. "You teaming up with people that tried to bury me," he, Legedly, told Shaw in a final heated phone call. "You moving like an op." Shaw, hurt, but standing 10 toes down, allegedly replied, "I'm just telling my story. You don't get to own that." But here's where it really goes. Left, a mutual friend of both artists, San R&B singer who asked to stay anonymous, reached out to a blog under a fake name and dropped a whole folder of screenshots, voice notes, and texts. We're talking receipts. And in one of those messages, Shaw allegedly texted a close friend after that infamous Madison Square Garden night. "He tried to shut me up, like I was never part of this story." And then the most chilling line, "They told me if I didn't fall back, I'd never perform under TEED again." Fans were shocked. The internet divided. And suddenly, this wasn't just artist drama. This was looking like label war. Now let's talk about the ripple effect. TEED artists started distancing themselves. Isaiah Rashad, usually cool with both camps, posted a cryptic tweet. "Sometimes silence is loyalty. Sometimes it's survival." Then deleted it. Schoolboy Q canceled a joint interview he had scheduled with Kendrick's team the following week. Even Jay Rock, who's always stayed neutral, posted a throwback pic of him and Shaw with the caption, "Real recognize real." And the fans. Y'all, the fans were doing investigations. Some started digging into old interviews, noticing moments where Kendrick would cut Shaw off mid-sentence. Others found old photos where she looked distant or where her mic was turned off during joint performances. It was giving ... calculated ... But even with all the chaos, Shaw stayed mostly silent. She posted 2 pictures, one of a candle burning low and one of a closed door. No caption. Just vibes. And that silence spoke volumes. Meanwhile, Kendrick popped up in London for a surprise poetry event, like none of this was happening. His team kept the press far away, but one clip leaked where he performed a new unreleased verse. And fans swear it was aimed at Shaw. Legacies built when the noise get loud, truth get twisted. Then buried in clouds, can't dim a light that never was yours. Love ain't love if it come with awards, double quotes. Yikes. So now, both artists are back on their own sides. Shaw's planning her solo run, possibly with a new creative team. And Kendrick. Rumors are swirling that he might be preparing a final statement album to address everything, including the fall of TDE as we know it. But before we move on, let's talk about one last twist that set the internet on fire. 3 nights ago, during a behind-the-scenes vlog from one of H's backup dancers, fans spotted something strange. A whiteboard in the background with the words "Free Control" written in red. And underneath it, a list of names ... One of them crossed out ... the name, K. Now, whether that's real shade or just coincidence, nobody knows. But it added gasoline to an already blazing fire. And just when we thought things couldn't get any messier, the family got involved. Yes, we're talking Cha's actual family. And her mama ain't staying quiet no more because next up, we dive into the emotional fallout, the family drama, and a late-night phone call that might have saved Cha's career or completely burned a bridge forever. Trust me, ... You're not ready for what's next. So boom, just when fans thought things couldn't spiral any further. Boom, the drama leaves the tour bus and enters Cha's own home. And not metaphorically. Her actual mama stepped in. It started with a subtle post on her private Facebook, meant only for close friends and church folks. But nothing stays private for long in this industry. A fan page got the screenshot. It said, "Sometimes the people you protect the most are the ones who want to silence your light. Proud of my daughter for standing tall. God sees everything." Double quotes, girl. The post didn't name names, but everybody knew who she was talking about. And the comments, full of support, fire emojis, prayers. And then a single comment that caught everybody's eye. "You raised a queen. Shame on them for trying to clip her wings." And guess who liked that comment? Schoolboy Q's sister. That one sent the entire timeline into a frenzy. Bloggers were now claiming there was a deep split within the TDE family, and that some of the older members had been silently rallying behind Cha the whole time, waiting for the right moment to break free. But hold up. This wasn't just about music anymore. This was personal. One of Cha's cousins, who's been low-key all her life, went live from a cookout in Jersey. Nothing major. She was eating ribs, vibing to music, until someone in the background started talking loud. Real loud. They did her dirty. And he did, the voice said. And now he's trying to flip it like she the one who switched up. Nah, you couldn't see the person, but the cousin didn't mute the phone. And that audio. Viral within minutes. But here's where it gets really deep. The very next day, Kendrick's older cousin posted a story that fans say was throwing serious shade. It was a screenshot of Kendrick's Spotify numbers, with the caption, "Funny how loyalty disappears when the checks stop clearing." Boom. That one line right there, that caused a full-on fan war. Cha stans and Kendrick fans were going back and forth, digging up old tour stats, stream numbers, even bringing up Drake's beef with Kendrick like it was all connected. And in the middle of it all, Teed stayed quiet, completely silent. No official statements, no interviews. Just vibes and chaos. But remember how we told y'all the family got involved? WELL. Let's talk about the phone call that changed everything, according to a close source. Who used to work on Chase's glam team. A late-night call came in days after Cha got pulled from the tour. And it wasn't from Kendrick. It was from his mom. Yes, his actual mother now. Kendrick's family usually stays out the spotlight. Super private. But insiders say she called Cha directly, late at night, no cameras. No drama, just woman to woman. She allegedly said, "I raised my son to speak through art, but not at the expense of silencing others. I'm sorry for how things unfolded." Sources say Cha cried, said she didn't want any of this. She just wanted to tell her story without being made to. Cha popped back up online with a calm but powerful post. A simple photo of her in the studio, barefoot, eyes closed, captioned, "Still healing. Still creating, but Kendrick. Still silent. Still watching. Still plotting. If fans are right. Because 2 days later, he posted a black and white video teaser. No words. Just footage of burning roses, concert crowds fading into smoke, and the phrase, "Truth isn't always poetry. Sometimes it's war." Fans were like, what does that even mean? And then boom, leaks hit Twitter. Unverified, of course, but allegedly. Kendrick is working on a concept album about falling out with family, featuring multiple skits. And fans are convinced some of those skits are based on real conversations. With SZA. People close to her are reportedly furious. Her team is scrambling to prepare a response. But the emotional toll, that's the part no one's talking about. one of HA's choreographers who's been with her since the Control toured, at a Q&A on Live and admitted this whole thing messed her up. She thought they had a bond beyond the stage. She trusted him. He went on to say that she would sometimes sit in the dressing room for hours after soundcheck. Headphones in, not talking to anybody. She was hurt. Not even mad at first. Just ... shocked. And get this, sources say that in private group chats with her team. SZA kept repeating one phrase. I should have seen it coming, but what does that even mean? Well, maybe she did. Because there's a growing theory that this wasn't the first time Kendrick tried to control the narrative. Fans are resurfacing old moments from past. Award shows where SZA was cut off mid-speech. Or interviews where she seemed hesitant to speak freely. In one interview from 2018, the host asked her about creative control, and she laughed nervously before saying, I get to choose what I wear. Mostly, nobody thought much of it at the time, but now, fans are reading between the lines. But here's the wildest twist of all. Remember that mysterious creative director who left TDE? The one helping SZA with her solo documentaries. Well, turns out they used to work directly under Kendrick's tour production team. And when they left, they allegedly took hours of unreleased rehearsal footage, private voice memos, and even emails. And now, rumor is a teaser trailer for HA's documentaries is coming. And it's supposed to include some of that unaired tour drama. We're talking real behind-the-scenes clips. Raw convos, tears, arguments. Even a scene where SZA breaks down and says, "Feel like I'm being erased." One source who's seen early cuts said, it's not messy for the sake of drama. It's vulnerable. But it will change how people see both of them. So now the clock is ticking. Kendrick's fans are waiting to see how he claps back. SZA's fans are rallying around her, ready to defend her at all costs. And teed. They're caught in the crossfire, some insiders believe. This might be the beginning of the end for the label as we know it. And guess what? We haven't even gotten to the part where another major artist gets pulled into this WebN unexpected figure who might just blow this whole thing wide. Open. One that nobody saw coming. And what they reveal might flip the entire narrative upside down, with burning roses, leaked voice notes, emotional breakdowns, and a docu-series that's threatening to expose everything. Fans are scrambling, the industry is watching like hawks, and now, just when the dust starts to settle, another voice steps in. And this time, it's someone nobody expected. Enter SOLANGE. Solange Knowles, queen of energy, protector of black artistry, and longtime quiet supporter of both Kendrick and SZA. She's never messy, never involved in industry drama. But this week, she reposts a throwback clip on her Storia clip of her and SZA vibing at an old festival. The caption, "Real ones move with intention. Real ones don't dim the light." And that was all it took. Fans immediately flooded the comments, asking, is she taking sides? Is she hinting at something we don't know? But then it gets deeper. Because the very next day, Solange's creative director, who also worked with her on When I Get Home, drops a tweet. Not even a tweet. A thread. And in that thread, they claim they were once in the room during a teed listening session where HA's creative ideas were allegedly dismissed, watered down, or shelved in favor of making the brand look more uniform. And guess who reportedly shut down a pitch for HA's solo visual EP? Kendrick's creative lead. They didn't name names, but insiders knew exactly who they were referring to. And the fans. They started calling it what it is. Creative suffocation. One tweet read, they tried to control her voice, her image, her narrative. But she kept pushing. And now that she's louder than ever, they want to clip her. And now the internet is eating it up. But wait, it gets wilder. Because guess who else joins the conversation? None other than Kelani. Kelani hops on live with Solange's stylist. And during the chat, they start talking about artistic freedom. And Kelani goes, I've watched people y'all idolize do some real manipulative stuff behind the scenes. And it's always the women who pay for it. Boom. That one sentence sent the fanbase into overdrive. Now blogs are spinning up headlines, calling it a women in R&B alliance forming behind SZA. And if you think this is just gossip, think again. Sources say that multiple major female artists, including Kehlani, Summer Walker, and Ari Lennox, have reached out privately to offer support to SZA. And some are even talking about joining her on a remix to a track that allegedly addresses the fallout directly. We're talking about a full-on solidarity movement bubbling under the surface. Meanwhile, Kendrick's camp is silent. But industry whispers say he's not taking this lightly. He's reportedly back in the studio with multiple producers working on a response project. Not a diss album, but a deeply personal, story-driven collection that subtly unpacks the fallout and puts his side of the story into the stew. I've come to the side of the story into the one comment read. We love Kendrick. We always will. But sometimes being quiet too long makes your truth sound like damage control. Others are still riding for him, saying he's a visionary, always ahead of the curve, and that real artists speak last. Either way, both sides are gearing up, and the tension, thick as ever. But let's go back to the docuseries, because this right here might be the final nail. New leak surfaced online, unconfirmed of course. But insiders say there's a scene in SZA's upcoming documentary that features her sitting in the dressing room, in tears after a canceled rehearsal. And in that moment, she says something that shook even the crew. I just wanted to be seen. Not as a sidekick, not as a feature, but as me. And then she adds, they act like I'm lucky to be here. But what if they were lucky to be next to me? Boom. Now here's where the plot thickens again. Another label exec, unaffiliated with TDE, told a podcast under anonymity that they were approached by HAI's management just days after the removal. Not to trash Kendrick, but to quietly explore the option of leaving TDE altogether. Yes, leaving. Yes, leaving. And that's not just speculation anymore. Industry insiders now believe SZA may be plotting her exit from the label entirely. And if that happens, it could trigger a chain reaction that breaks apart the entire foundation of TDE, because HA's success, post-CTRL, has become the label's biggest commercial weapon. If she walks, other artists might start reconsidering their loyalty too. But let's not forget Kendrick already left TDE once. Started PG Long. And even though his foot was still in the door for some projects, this whole situation might push both camps into a full-blown split. And the fans, they're feeling it, one user wrote. It feels like the end of an era. Like we're watching TDE collapse in real time. And maybe they're not wrong. But in the midst of all this chaos, there's still one voice we haven't heard from. Top Dog himself. He's been ghost, quiet, not a single interview, post, or comment. But this week, he showed up unannounced at a listening party for an up-and-coming artist. A few fans caught him slipping out the back door, and when someone asked, "Are you still backing Kendrick or SZA?" he reportedly just smiled and said, "The truth always wins. We'll see who keeps telling it." Cryptic, cold, calculated, and with those few words, it seems like the label is choosing a side, even if they won't admit it publicly. So now we're here, a broken tour, a silent war, a woman reclaiming her voice, and a man trying to hold onto a legacy that's slipping through his fingers. Fans are torn. Friends are choosing sides. And what started as a tour just a tour has become one of the most explosive fallouts in hip-hop history. But don't get it twisted. This ain't the end. SZA's single quotes as docuseries is coming. Kendrick's response project is rumored to drop within the next 3 months. And in the meantime, we're all just watching, waiting, wondering, who's really the villain here? Or maybe it's not about villains at all. Maybe it's just what happens when power, art, ego, and silence collide in the darkest corners of the industry. And now, the whole world is watching. What happens next? Only time will tell, so now we're left with more questions than answers. How did two of the most powerful forces in music, 2. Artists who built an empire together end up divided. Distant and possibly done for good. Was this always brewing beneath the surface? Or did fame, pressure, and industry politics crack something that was never as solid as it seemed? SZA's silence has been loud. Her pain even louder. And as her fans rally, repost, and revisit every lyric, every look, every interview, one thing is clear. She's done playing background. Kendrick. The world's waiting. He's always been the king of calculated timing, the master of silence. But this time, his silence might have cost him more than he thought. Because the streets are token. And this time, they're not just listening, they're choosing sides. Will the Docosaurus finally tell SZA's side? Will Kendrick clap back with something that shifts the narrative again? Or is this the moment that closes the chapter on Teed as we know it? Whatever happens next, you already know we'll be right here, breaking it down piece by piece, T by T. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think SZA was pushed out unfairly? Is Kendrick protecting his legacy or protecting his ego? And do you think Teed can survive this split? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Holding back. And if you're really tapped in, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you never miss another breakdown. Because baby, this story, it's far from over. This is your #1 source for real rap news with a twist, where the truth and the tea go hand in hand. Until next time, stay messy, stay woke, and stay watching. We out.